ringer is off.
It's time for Stages of Life Radio with Dr. David Klein. Have a medical question? Call 407-422-1212. That's 407-422-1212 or text 23680.
As a matter of fact, we're going to just keep the text line popping today. The phones got hit by lightning, so pa-chang.
Well, it beats the heck out of you and I getting hit by lightning.
I'm not a fan of getting hit by lightning at all. So, yeah, you're right.
That's a good one. It's cranked up to be accurate.
Here's our music. There it is. Okay. All right. Yes, now the fingers are popping and the time is hopping. It's Stages of Life Radio. Hello. Back from sunny Cancun, all vacated and looking rested.
Hola.
Dr. David Klein, everybody. So today, you want to talk about eyeball problems.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
You know, we're looking for things that just might keep some interest going on. And, you know, your eyes are important to you.
No.
You only have two.
What?
So, and as best I can understand, with 42 years of private medical practice behind me, new old stock NOS eyeballs work out a whole lot better than the artificial parts that we sometimes have to pop in them. So, what does that mean? What that means is it's really a good idea to keep, if you mind, keep your eye on your eyes.
Oh, come on, really?
Yeah, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we keep them nice and healthy and not to abuse them. You know, we abuse ourselves with all manners of different things, toxins, activities, thoughts, all of which do its own damage. But the eyes are particularly sensitive. They're like little out pockets of your brain without much to protect them. So the eyes are really very, very important to you. A good deal of your brain is just concentrates its effort on integrating, interpreting, and using visual data. Same thing is true of the ears, the auditory system. These things are important to us. The olfactory system, your nose, your taste, very, very important to you. And it's shocking the amount of brain matter that's devoted just to these senses. And yet, we'll sit around and bake in the sun. We will sit around and walk around outside without even the most basic of all protections. Here in Florida, we've legislated that our eyeglasses, our sunglasses, have to be of sufficient effectiveness, strength, to keep the ultraviolet lights from frying our eyeballs. So we have a lot of people coming in from out of state. Lots and lots of retirees, lots and lots of folks that whine about being on a fixed income. I'm on a fixed income, so I can't do this, that, or the other. Hey, the rest of us have to work for a living.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, you know, if we don't work, we don't get paid. So who's got the better deal? But that's another day's argument. So you need to invest a little bit of money in protecting your eyes and protecting your skin. We've talked about skin a number of times. And so if you haven't gotten the idea by now, you're probably never going to get it. But the eyes are something that I'm going to discuss today because I just got back again from sunny Cancun. Now, what's the difference between Cancun and Orlando, Florida, which is where we're sitting right now? You may be in Peoria. You may be in Seattle. It doesn't matter where you are. Really makes a lot of difference to me where I am. And so the greater the incident angle of the sun, which is to say the more directly it is overhead, the greater the intensity of the light that's going to hit you and the radiation that goes along with it. The more incidental that hit, as you go up towards the pole, the less intense it becomes and the less likely you are to develop problems as a result of sunlight. We all know this, and instinctively we understand how this operates. And yet, when people move here from out of state, and this is directed largely at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't bring your politics with you.
Don't bring your politics with you. You can come here and spend all your money. We love that.
Right.
By the way, you know, Southerners are
Stay red.
very Southerners are a very hospitable bunch.
We're good.
But don't give us your politics.
Yes.
It's nice here because we made it that way, not because we won it some other way. But that being said, and that, by the way, is an attitude that's throughout the South.
It's true.
Okay, it starts at Maryland and works its way all the way down through Florida. Although Maryland has flipped a bit, Virginia has. I think it's due to change back. So what do you do about your eyes? Okay, and so the most basic of all things that you need to do is to get yourself a new pair of sunglasses. Better would be to buy several pairs of sunglasses in case you do what everybody else does around here, and that's leave them someplace like at the taco stand or at the restaurant, you know, or you sit on them. You know, but a pair of sunglasses is going to be the difference between you and getting cataracts early. It'll be the difference between you and getting a melanoma of your retina. It'll be the difference between you being healthy and ending up with some other miserable disease. And we're going to talk about several of them. So what you're looking for is a good pair of sunglasses. Buy them locally because they will, in fact, have to go by Florida state law and have the appropriate protection attached to them. Out of state, no guarantees. If you're going to buy some garbage out of China, even less likely that you're going to be protected. So what is it, about our eyes that so makes things so very, very delicate? Well, you have a series of membranes that are protecting your eye, the inside of your eye, out pocket of the brain called the retina, and the outside world. Not a great deal of protection, so to speak, chemically, from light or really vibration or anything else. Pressure, for that matter. Physical pressure on the eyeball can, in fact, cause damage. It can cause permanent damage. Trauma, of course, can cause damage. So what do we want to do? The first thing you want to do is to avoid any incidental issues. You want to try to mitigate metabolic issues, and you try to eliminate things like dietary and environmental issues, things that you can control. There are things out there you can't control. You cannot control genetic issues that, it's a funny thing. My mom was turned blind when she was 26 from some genetic difficulty. Yeah, that can happen. Very little you can do about that at this time. But the most common causes of blindness in this country, visual impairment, call it what you want, whatever is politically correct at this point, and it will change by tomorrow. You have got to get on this. So people say, well, most common cause in this country is not going to be infectious as it is in Egypt and most of the world. Okay, it's not going to be protozoan. It's not going to be bacterial infection. It's going to be diabetes. And you're going to go, well, but it takes somebody with really bad diabetes to develop diabetic retinopathy. And that's where you would be incorrect.
Yeah, I was going to say, does it?
It doesn't. No, it takes time for retinopathy to develop from diabetes, but it happens when you actually develop diabetes. And when is that? It's about 15 years before the doctor tells you have it. They now call that pre-diabetes, which is still diabetes. It is still the problem. So when your insulin level goes up, even before your blood sugar goes up over that threshold value, you're causing a certain chemical effect that will result in retinopathy. That's damage, pathology to the retina. And it's progressive. So people go, well, I don't want to take that medicine because it makes my stomach upset. And you think about it, well, that's nice. Increased risk of heart attack, increased risk of stroke, decreased longevity means you're going to die younger, and you're probably going to die blind, or at least you're not going to be able to see particularly well when you're in your 80s or 70s for that matter, or even earlier, because you're not paying attention to what I'm about ready to tell you. And that's that you need to know three things, okay, about diabetes to protect your eyes. You need to know your blood sugar, and it needs to be below 85. Now, a bunch of people are screaming right now at me going, you're wrong. Doc, you are absolutely wrong. My doctor said 120. What I will tell you is the real answer is 85. Ideally, between 75 and 85 is where you want your fasting blood to be, fasting blood sugar. And the reason is that your longevity actually decreases for every milligram percent over 85. So while you can be, quote unquote, within range, you are going to die younger than the person sitting beside you with a better blood sugar. So you decide which chair you want to sit in. But what happens is when the blood sugar goes up even modestly, it starts causing damage to very, very delicate nerve tissues. Now, we're really not designed, and many of our parts for that matter, are not designed to live much past the age of 35. So if we can agree to believe that our species has been on this planet for 200,000 years or thereabouts, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less, but about 200,000 years, for all but the last 100 years, we have been short and only lived into our 40s or less. If you don't believe it, go to an antique store and pick up some of the antique pieces of garments and see whether they fit you or not. See if you can find anything that can't fit anything but a doll. No, we've gotten bigger and fatter. And
well,
sicker.
Yeah, it's funny because I order off of Amazon, and it depends. It should say sizes run small.
Yeah, sizes run small. Okay.
Sizes run small.
Yeah, everybody listening is an extra large until proven otherwise. If you're buying.
We'll be right back. Stages of Life Radio. We're live right now. And we'll take in your text, 23680 if you got some questions.
The phone is built in China.
Phone, yeah. Because the phones, I took a dump courtesy of the lightning. We'll be right back. It's true, though. What are you going to do?
Can't win in the lightning storm.
Oh, my God.
Cut my golf game short.
Did it?
No,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
golf. Are you kidding? They don't let me near sharp instruments, let alone golf
Let alone
clubs.
clubs. Yeah, but see, that's so contrary to the doctor thing. I mean, aren't they always like on the golf course?
They're not always out on the golf course, but chasing the nurses around the office, that's a reality.
No, that's real.
That's
I know,
real.
I've seen that.
I've seen the
That's
movies.
Scary, and I wonder why you have such big girls in your office. I know why.
Now you know why, because I can catch them.
Chubby chaser.
The skinny ones run faster than I do.
Yeah, they do run pretty fast. I know. I've learned that as well. Anyway, we're just messing around. Hi, Iggy. Good. Iggy is online? Wait, who else here? Let me see.
Ignacio.
Iggy is there. We got a couple of questions coming in right now on the text line. That is good. Where's the trap located in your AC system?
The trap?
Right there in front of my AC in the house.
Yeah, there's a
little hole there.
Well, actually, if you want to know about traps and AC systems, one of the things you're going to want to do is to get yourself a moisture detector to put underneath your air handler.
That is true.
There is a box, an empty box under your air handler, and it will do all kinds of damage to you if you don't do the following. And that's to get a remote switch for moisture that sits underneath there, because when there's an alarm. Well, the alarm is okay. If you are out of town, it's not so great.
No.
So, but what it'll do is it'll cut off your air conditioner if that moisture, the thing is triggered, and that can save your house. Here in Florida, you end up with water on your floor, and it can lead to things like black mold, which is a major, major issue. And many of the homeowners insurances don't cover it anymore.
You know what is weird, though? I was just talking to a guy, a home inspector, got inspections, and he said that you can't differentiate what type of mold it is without sending it away. It
has to be sent out.
Damn lab.
Which is what? Okay, do you know what it costs to do that?
A lot.
No, about $24. You can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get a little kit, and then you do it, send it out, and they'll tell you what the mold is. It's not that expensive to do it. Yeah, it's more expensive not to do it.
Oh, well, yeah, because it can kill you.
Yeah, like it did with me with my office in Lake Mary.
Yeah, it'll kill you.
Yeah, that just made me sick. In fact, it took me years to get over that pneumonia.
I was going to say, I had walking pneumonia from Altamont, had a house that had black mold in the walls, and I knew it. I could tell.
Walk in.
Nothing we could do. As soon as I walked in, I was like...
One person in 6 is sensitive to mold spores like that. I am, and you are. Mm-hmm. But I'd never seen it coming until that day.
Right. You went insane, and so did I.
I was. They sent the cops out after me.
Yeah, well, I was to be Baker acted. If I didn't calm down, they had me up the street in the hospital.
Yeah, I was going through military. I was going through my escape and evasion. I was hallucinating.
Yeah,
it was
fight or
terrible.
flight mode is really weird. Guys, watch out for that mold in your house, by the way. I'm just going to say, get a test. It's simple enough. Scrape the walls. Do what you got to do.
You can just leave the plates open and do it. And so, but underneath your air conditioner, that's where those little, that's where you need a switch under there, my friend.
All right, so thanks for checking in with that one. You never know. Sometimes just lingering home improvement texts from another show, but...
if they didn't mention it, and they don't really care. All they want to do is to replace your filters there, my friend.
Surprise, we knew something. You stay right there. Stay right there, and we're coming right back. Welcome back, Stages of Life Radio, brought to you by Stages of Life Medical Institute. Throw a .com behind that, stagesoflifemedicalinstitute.com. Become a patient of Dr. David Klein. You will thank yourself for it. Yeah, we got a friend who's a little miserly out there, going back and forth, gets back on the right track, and then immediately goes back to the VA.
Oh, yes.
Wait till I tell you about the HRT.
Oh, you gotta love it.
Pellets.
Yeah. Oh, he's going with the pellets. Okay. Well, when he grows those man boobs, we'll talk about it again.
Man boobs are fun. Enjoy.
Yeah. Well, no, you never get any work done.
No, I know. You're playing with them all the time. I know. It's crazy. Welcome back. We're just farting around here. 23680. That's the text line. Talking about your eyeballs. I have really fleshy cornea, so I just thought I'd throw that out there.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
Okay.
What do you feel about LASIK surgery?
LASIK had it done. LASIK is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So But we'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
Let me finish. Let me
You
finish
finish
up
your-
about
okay.
pathology. Then we'll talk about the ways we can get ourselves
I'm not
into.
a fan of poking myself in the eye.
Well, neither am I now that you mention it. But the LASIK is actually a very, very good technique. Okay, it does have its limitations. It has things about it that you need to know that you may not be told before you have it done. Okay, dry eye that follows is very common and can be a drag. I had mine done 21 years ago, and they still have issues.
Same here.
So, has that gotten any better? The answer is negatory Batman. But what I want to talk about
Procedure's
is
gotten better since in 21 years.
Yes.
Yeah, but
macular degeneration is where I was going. Okay, and the story with macular degeneration is it differs from diabetic retinopathy in the means and mechanisms by which the eye goes bad. Diabetic retinopathy, very, very common. Okay, the incidence of diabetes in this country is skyrocketing at this point.
Of course it is.
Why? Because we're not taking care of ourselves. We're ignoring ourselves.
Food is cheap if you eat the crap.
Yeah, food is cheap. Food is cheap, period. And then people go out there and still buy it in bulk. Okay, so you end up trashing yourself. Your eyes are one of the first things that are going to go. But macular degeneration is the one that scares the heck out of people with any gray hair at all. So macular degeneration just kind of creeps up on an individual. And then all of a sudden you go in there to get your eyes checked, which is something that any sensible person in this country would do once a year, at least once a year. And somebody says, oh, by the way, you've got early dry macular degeneration. And if that doesn't make you fecally incontinent, it should. And so, it's one of those sorts of deals where you start to realize that you too are likely to do badly in life one way or the other. Now, what is it that causes macular degeneration? Nobody really understands fully what the disease is. There's some many theories as to what it's all about. More than likely, it's more than one disorder, but with one symptom. So individuals with certain disease states are more likely to get macular degeneration, which is a medical illness whereby the center portion of the eye, the place where your greatest density of vision occurs, and it's not too far from the fovea, which is where most of this is, it starts to break down. It's the center of the retinal nerve. Okay, it's just the way these things work. So the optic nerve pops out, becomes the retina. It's right at that spot, and it starts to break down. It's called the macula. Now, individuals with high blood pressure, and you know who you are because there are many, are at increased risk of developing macular degeneration, whether it's from the hypertension itself or the medications used to treat it. Not really sure.
Right.
Okay, why? Diabetes. Is it the diabetes itself or is it the medications used to treat the diabetes? Not necessarily sure. But there are things that are well known. One of which is that if you can keep your blood pressure properly controlled, the disease tends to stop or it slows down very, very substantially. If you can get your blood sugar under control, it will slow down very, very substantially. What they haven't researched properly in my mind's eye is insulin levels being necessary for this to occur. Just from my perspective, insulin going up is a leading event before the blood sugar ever goes up. So you may go 15 to 20 years with elevations in insulin with normal blood sugars, and you have pre-diabetes. That's when your weight goes up.
All right.
So when your weight goes up, well, I've gained 20 pounds in the past 15 years, but that's normal in my family. Okay, but they say I'm pre-diabetic. You are the individual that's at risk. And there are bunches of people that will say this and not understand who's talking back to them in the mirror. What you just said, okay, is telling you exactly what the problem is. So I want you to imagine for a second, okay, that you look down at your ankles and they're swelling. Okay, well, is that normal? Not really.
No.
There are medications you can take for diabetes. There are medications you can take for hypertension, okay, that will control the diabetes. But one of the side effects actually happens to be swelling of the ankles.
Oh.
When the macula swells is when you end up getting this issue. So the trick to this, okay, I'm going to confuse you, and I'm also going to try to do you a really big favor with this, and that's get your insulin levels down. Get your blood pressure down and try to do it with a minimal amount of blood pressure medications that will get the job done. The idea, okay, is to get the blood pressure to a point of normalcy without having to medicate the heck out of yourself. Because you can fix anybody's blood pressure with a sufficient amount of medication and cause secondary issues. Mm-hmm. Things like amlodipine, which is one of my most favorite of all blood pressure medications, okay, will cause leakiness of the vasculature, which is one of the issues with macular degeneration. So people with AMD, okay, I will not use calcium channel blockers. I will not use ARBs. I will not use things that are generally seen as having leaky vessels, blood vessels. Swelling of the ankles is where this thing starts. So this is what we need to do. Are there things you can do in terms of your diet to improve macular degeneration? And the answer is oddly yes. Okay, there are things that you need to avoid. Okay, my favorite thing, okay, and this is going to drive a bunch of these keto diet people crazy, is you need to avoid tropical oils. Palm oil, coconut oil. These things are rich in omega-9, 7s, and fatty acids. These are really bad news.
I can't say it enough. Coconut oil is crap.
Garbage. Yeah,
don't get it in your coffee.
Bad. And it is it's a Darwinian type.
It's a great substitute for butter on your popcorn, but it's still garbage.
It's bad news. Darwin was right. Okay, so there are a lot of people that are going to drop off early just as a result of poor choices when they're shopping for their food or listening to whatever weblogs. As far as health is concerned, you need to take a stick of butter and shove it in your coffee.
No.
Those people deserve
that keto
early death.
Coffee, they will. They won't deserve it. They'll get it.
Yeah, their legs will fall off before they die.
Keep doing it. Just eat that stick of butter.
It's bad news. And the coconut oil, you have got to be kidding me. Now if you sit back and look at where did your ancestors come from?
Not coconuts.
They didn't come from Coconut City. Okay, they came, no, that wasn't in our diet for the better part of 200,000 years. So now that you can get a coconut for a buck, it's no, you don't need to be using garbage in your diet just so that you can stink like an old person, because of the omega-7s. So the fish oil is what you want to be taking, the omega-3s, the alpha lipoic acid, EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA, which is docosahexaenoic acid, are present in fish oil. That will decrease the viscosity of your blood. That's thin it out so that it glides like a great automobile lubricating oil. It shoots through the vasculature and does it effortlessly. Fish oil is what you want to be taking, not palm oil, coconut oil, and some of these others. If you really think that fish have souls, okay, then go ahead with evening primrose oil, okay, because obviously plants don't have souls. So what are we looking at? So fish oil, good idea. They talk about using zinc, they talk about using copper as being very important. And what these two things have in common, copper is very important with regards to vascular integrity. So we use copper, oddly enough, in very small amounts. I'm talking 1 milligram, 2 milligrams, and no more. Minute amounts. Okay. Your body only absorbs about 1% of that, and that's sufficient. And it helps actually tighten up blood vessels. So it's helpful in individuals that have hemorrhoids, individuals that have incompetent valves in their legs. So you can have issues there as well, varicose veins. It's helpful for individuals that have paper-thin skin and then they bruise like crazy. So copper in 1 to 2 milligram doses and no more is very beneficial there. But oddly enough, it also works on the vessels in the eye. Huh. So when you read about it, and I encourage you to read about it because you don't want to believe what I tell you. Heck, they're going to tell you to get cupric oxide, and what you want to be getting is actually something that absorbs. And we'll talk about zinc in a moment because that's the other one they tell you to get, zinc oxide. You waste your money on something else.
All right, we're also going to talk about gut candida and some treatment and labs for that.
Okay.
Yeah, why not, right? And the text line, 23680. Just mash those numbers in, pull up your messenger app, and just 23680 and send us a text and tell us what your issue is, and we'll see what the doc can do for you. Stages of Life Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. This could be a very short break.
Okay. Yeah, what we'll do is I'll just mention the nutraceuticals and whatnot that are necessary for the macular degeneration and the diabetes, and then we can move into text land. Okay. So I'll finish the loop on that. Text land.
Give me some more text. Oh wait, there's one there. Are there? How do I kill sod web worms? I don't know anything about sod web worms.
I used to. I was a pesticide chemist for the EPA. Once upon a time, I'd be able to answer that question.
Yeah, it's changed drastically, I'm sure. Some of the pesticides.
Oh, they most certainly have.
My God, the paraquat thing, they're abusing me with that.
Why?
Because everybody's trying to get people on the case, so I'm getting all these...
Paraquat? What
Yeah,
do you do? Where would they be using paraquat around here?
No, there's like a class action case against that for something causing... I forget exactly what it's caused. Maybe Parkinson's or something.
Who knows? But I mean, where was it being used around here?
I don't know. All I know is I've got people wanting me to do interviews to get people.
Oh,
on the
interviews. I
lawsuit.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But I was involved with something called the Substitute Chemicals Program with EPA out of D.C. And what I did was worked with a team that was looking for substitutes for DDT, aldrin, dieldrin, heptachlorine, chloridane. That's what I mean. That goes back a while. It goes back to the 1970s, early 70s.
Don't trust red dye number 2. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's what. And they ruined my M&Ms when I was a child.
And you have never been the same.
No. Ruined my day. It's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching us on the Facebook too. Oh, there we go. There's another question there. What? Sent with a gentle effect. Oh, that's nice. I got some eyeball questions.
Yep.
And so it is. Welcome back. Stages of Life Radio, Sundays from 4 until 5 p.m. on News Radio WFLA Orlando. Bing. Gotta hit it like
that. Was good.
Yeah, that's what I do. Dr. Klein, what he does is doctoring. He's the doctor, and I'm the yapper. So it's Melissa Fox, Dr. David Klein, Stages of Life Medical Institute, right off of I-4 and 434 in beautiful Longwood.
And it is getting beautiful now.
It is. They're working on it pretty hard there. Also, you can check out the website stagesoflifemedicalinstitute.com, and there's just that's just like a splash. You can go wherever you want from there. And
a lot of data for you.
Lots of information.
You know, if you decide you want to learn about this stuff, you know what you want to do is just go to that website and just start reading. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Or listening, because we have a bunch of things that are audio, just like this.
Because why waste your time poking around on WebMD and all those places that, anybody can
largely
just
written by non-physicians.
Exactly. It's like Wikipedia. Edited today. Oh, what? Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I used to write, for Wikipedia. And then I realized what the heck I was just
realized
contributing
what
to
was
this
going
mess.
on. Yeah,
it's kind of
making it worse.
Yeah, somebody's going to correct my work with a high school education on the other side of the world, and I'm not going to be doing that.
Okay, before the break, you were talking about the copper and then zinc.
Copper and zinc.
Okay.
And so there are certain minerals that you want to be taken for a number of metabolic reasons. Zinc is very helpful with regards to the treatment of diabetes and certain other diseases like thyroid disease. The copper helps with the vasculature. They talk about using zeaxanthin, astaxanthin, and these are antioxidants. Now, rarely do you hear about how much it takes to actually get the job done. Wow. And there are a bunch of them that work, and then there are many of them that are much, much less expensive that need to be taken on a daily basis, not only for the eyes, but they help with other issues dealing with the metabolic problems that cause the macular degeneration and diabetic retinopathy to begin with. So what you want to be doing, and I'm going to ask you to do this, and I don't care if you buy the product or not, okay? But I want you to look at one called it's called MacuShield, MacuShield 2, MacuShield 2. We had MacuShield 1 and improved it to MacuShield 2. And just go to it and look at what's in it. It's a shopping list of what you need to get your AMD or get your diabetic retinopathy under control. It wasn't one of these proprietary blends of and then list a whole bunch of junk on it. It'll tell you precisely what it takes. And it takes about 6 capsules a day to get it. So it's not one of these Bausch & Lomb products where you take a pill and, gee, you got it made. It doesn't work that way. You cannot, it's very, very difficult, okay, to get a case of soda into a 5-pound bag. It isn't going to happen. And so it goes with nutraceuticals. But MacuShield 2 is really the one you want to look at, and then look at what's in it. Listen to the audios. They don't plug the product. They plug what you're doing about it. So there are things that you need to be taking. And N-acetylcysteine is the most potent of all antioxidants that you can use to treat eye issues. What does it take? It's going to take a good bit of NAC to get the job done. Does it do other things for your body? And the answer is absolutely. To include lowering cholesterol and lowering blood sugar.
Huh.
Okay, it's very interesting stuff, but it will deal with the underlying issue as well. The astaxanthin, zeaxanthin, and whatnot are really lesser problems, but alpha lipoic acid, which is the most potent antioxidant that there is, wickedly important for eye health. So when you take too little of it, as is often the case with many products,
Right.
you're not doing anybody any good. So if the recipe calls for half a cup of flour, and all you have in your hand is a tablespoon, it's not going to work. If it calls for 6 eggs and you've got 1, it is not going to work. You can't substitute a quarter of a teaspoon of butter for a tablespoon of salt. It doesn't work that way. Your body needs what it needs in the amount that it needs. And that's the fun part with all this. So the world is full of experts. You got to be very, very careful if they truly are and what they're expert in. So rate, route, and amount is what this is about. Rate, route, and amount. How do you take it? How quickly do you take it? And how is it taken?
Okay.
So that's how how all this works. And then it gets into moiety. It gets into whether or not your body will absorb a particular type. And then it's pretty straightforward. But if you go to that product, and I encourage you to do so, just look at what's in it. And if you want to shop it and make it yourself, God bless you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay, we got some questions here on the text line. Got some on the social media too.
Sure. Let's hear what they have to say.
Linda, who suffered a heart attack not that long ago, is wondering if Kinkies would react with any of the medications. She's on Coreg, Plavix, Cozar, and Lipitor.
Nope. No.
You're good.
Kinkies is methylsulfonylmethane. It's an antioxidant. It will, if you use very prodigious amounts, you can get it into your bloodstream. The worst thing it'll do is it'll be an antioxidant. Doesn't interfere with anything else. It's not going to help you with a heart attack, though. There are things you can and should do there, Linda girl. All right? And that's something we can chat about if you choose to. And sorry about your heart attack. I read about it on Facebook. I saw your little note there about the right-sided pain. So if you have right-sided pain, not just left-sided, it might be a heart attack.
There you go.
Pretty good, a little review of the fact that if you don't know what the heck's going on.
And the blood pressure was fine, too.
Yeah.
So that was a good indicator for any woman out there.
How about anybody?
Yeah, well, anyone, friends of yours, that you was well written. Here's a text, and you can text us, by the way. The number is 23680. Just mash that into your message app and then send your questions. Are there labs for gut candida?
Yes.
And what are they, and what's the treatment?
Okay, what you want to do is to have your doctor, there are a couple ways you can do this. And the best way, in my opinion, if you're truly concerned about candida in the gut, this Candida albicans is the name of the fungus. And that would be to have a stool sample sent to a company called Genova Diagnostics. Okay, and it's going to cost a few $100. It's not a ton of money, but that's what you do, and it'll look at the entire gut biome. Okay, in a stool sample. Very, very helpful way to do it. That's probably the only way that'll give you an accurate diagnosis of Candida in the stool.
Okay, all right.
Genova.
And then when you find out if you do have it, what kind of treatment would it be?
Well, it depends. It depends on the degree of overgrowth. If you have just a little bit of dysbiosis, sometimes all you need to do is to take a good probiotic. And I don't mean some of this freeze-dried stuff.
Crap.
Yeah, if it's in a box, it's probably not any good. If it's freeze-dried into those little blister packs, it's probably not any good.
Yeah.
But the best ones out there now are from a spore technology. So you want to start looking for probiotics with the name or word spore in it. And what happens is that they hit the bacteria or gather them at a time when they go dormant. Why do you want to do that? Because when you take it orally, it'll hit the stomach acid, survive, and make it into the small bowel.
Right.
When you take a probiotic, and this is very important, you can either go ahead and take a prebiotic, which is a fertilizer for the probiotic, and it's another $30 or $40 a month. Why not? Or you can do what I would do, and what I have done, and what I ask my patients to do, and that's to get Del Monte brand, very specifically, zucchini squash. And it's zucchini in tomato sauce. And you take a tablespoon of this stuff when you take your probiotic. It feeds the bacteria. You get more bang for your buck. And one can is about $1.60, and it will last you 3 weeks.
Not bad.
Not bad. Save your money.
Del Monte.
Del Monte, because that's what I grew up with.
Okay, all right. I just
Okay?
brand specific.
It's brand specific because I trust them. Okay, it's like anything for $1.80. I know
you.
the product. You want to go ahead and get the grocery store brand, knock yourself out. But I will tell you that stuff is marvelous, and it tastes good.
All right, here's another text. Again, the text line is wide open for you, 23680. Give us the information that you think we're going to need in order to help you with the question.
There you go.
Here's one. Dr. Klein, my fasting blood sugar is 102, but my A1C is 5. What is that telling me?
What that's telling you is that the present indicator, the blood sugar is too high by about 25%, 15 to 25%. Period. The fact that you're not glycosylating the hemoglobin at this point simply means that you're not hitting peaks of it, hitting 130 or better. You still have prediabetes, and that's a fact. Your best course of action right now would be to get an insulin level drawn so you can know how bad it is. If your insulin level is 10, blood sugar 102, A1C of 5, it's very easily treated. It's purely dietary. It's pulling things that are starchy out of your diet, and it'll straighten right out. If, on the other hand, your insulin is 15 to 30 in that range, you're going to need to be medicated to bring that insulin down, or you're going to suffer the ramifications that we discussed earlier. So the A1C is a trailing indicator. By the time the A1C goes up to 6, you're already on the way to
you're in trouble.
Perdition. You're on your way out.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I want to see my A1Cs below. I like to see them below 5.3. That's my goal with all my patients.
It's pretty good.
No, it's right where it needs to be. And most people don't even know what A1C stands for. Most doctors don't know what hemoglobin A1C is. Well, it's a number. Okay, it tells us how well your diabetes is doing. What it is, it's glycosylated hemoglobin. So this will make a little bit more sense to you in just a second. And that's that when the blood sugar is used, and you'll eat whatever you're going to eat. It turns to glycogen, or it gets absorbed directly, and your body starts to chew it up. But if it exceeds the body's threshold with regards to its ability to bind it or its ability to consume it, it starts to stick, in a manner of speaking, to the hemoglobin in the red cells. Not just there, but also the inner linings of the blood vessels. It hardens the blood vessels. It does bad things. It's known as caramelization if you're a cook. So if you know how to caramelize onions, what this is, it's that percentage of your hemoglobin that's been caramelized from the excess glucose. So you want that number as low as possible.
Okay, quick one here before we go to the break.
I like
Any
the answer.
risk of too much NAC?
There's a good question. Okay, anything in nature can be a poison or a nutrient. There's
moderation.
nothing out there, okay, that doesn't have both possibilities, with perhaps an exception of thallium, plutonium, these sorts of things and mercury. These things are poisons at any level. Lead.
Right.
We don't really need any of those things.
Okay.
But in terms of NAC, it's very hard to make a toxin out of this stuff.
Can you eat too many vitamins?
Yes,
You can.
you can. And we'll
Okay.
get to that after these important announcements.
Very good. All right, stay tuned for that one, Eva. I know your question was on your mind. All right, 23680. We're answering texts. I got a bunch of them coming in. Keep them coming. Got another segment to go here. Stages of Life for radio. We'll take it.
There you are. That was easy for you to say.
No, it really wasn't. We'll take a quickie. Not that quickie. But a quick one. We'll be right back. Stages of Life Radio, News Radio, WFLA, Orlando. No, I mean quickie. I'm talking like a minute and a half here.
That's good. They're working us hard today. They're making us earn our keep.
No. I know, but I have to do math, and that, you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah. I've been on the receiving end of that.
We've all been on the receiving end of my math.
So, well, I think I need to visit the men's room. You have 30 seconds, man. That math never works.
Never. No. Bud asked me, do I have it? No. No, you don't.
Can you stretch it out?
No.
What are we talking about?
Do I want to is the question. You guys are silly. All right, yeah, we got a couple of good ones here, which is fine. Please answer my text. I will, we will. Please answer my text. Please. Oh, wow. Okay. It's 3 in a row here from the same person.
Was that right?
Yeah.
Somebody's desperate for an answer.
Very concerned.
Okay.
She seems very concerned.
Well, good.
Yeah, we'll ask someone. There was the shading in my eye that they talked about was non-fatty, possible non-alcohol fatty.
Fatty liver disease?
Yeah, it was maybe making shadows, possible glaucoma.
No.
Yeah, so that's what I was like.
No.
They checked the pressure.
No.
My eyes are fine.
Checking your pressure is looking for glaucoma. Perfect. But no. NAFLD, no.
Yeah. Thanks. I know. Welcome back, Stages of Life Radio, Sunday afternoons from 4 to 5. Melissa Fox helping out the doc, Dr. David Klein, who really doesn't need your much help. Are we live or are we a rerun? That's a good question.
Well, it's not a rerun yet.
Not yet.
One day we may
The
rerun
text
this
line.
one.
The text line. Right now we got one person who's like, answer my text, please. So you know what? Let's go ahead and
Okay,
answer
let's take
those
it. Yeah, because
texts.
she may have a coronary.
And we don't want you to have. Okay, here we go. Let's start at the first one. Yeah. What are the best supplements to lower high blood pressure? My blood pressure is 150/95.
Okay, the best supplement actually isn't the supplement. The best supplement is restricting your salt intake. Okay. So first thing you want to do is to look at what you're eating to see whether or not you're making yourself sick. That would be the first thing. Second thing, and this is going to sound kind of weird, but it works beautifully. It's called hibiscus tea. So technically it's not a supplement. But you go buy yourself a big bag of hibiscus tea. You can get the tea bags. It's just a more expensive way to do it. And you do a tea bag twice a day. That will lower your blood pressure. It's very effective. It does a bunch of other neat things for you, but it does stain, so you have to be careful. Okay. Sesame oil will do the same thing. And then you can take folic acid, high doses of folic acid, and that will bring down your blood sugar.
Because honestly, I do not like the side effects of lisinopril.
I'm not crazy about them either. I was on it.
I take it, but I didn't know there were side effects.
Oh, yeah.
Like what?
Coughing.
Oh,
is number one.
Well,
really?
Yeah, that's good. I've got the COPD.
Right.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes on to say, I'm afraid of dying of a heart attack.
Okay.
So I don't take my blood pressure medicine. So I take my blood pressure medicine, but I don't like the side effects. Other than no salt, are there ways to lower my blood pressure?
So she already knew about the salt, which is, okay, very interesting. Okay, so she's been paying attention to other shows. Yeah, there are some things that you can do. And so in terms of cost effectiveness, I would be using something called clonidine, which is spelled Clonidine. Dosage is 0.1 milligrams 2 to 3 times per day, but you start slowly with it. And it brings down blood pressure every time. Works beautifully. If you go too fast with it, it can make you dizzy. Short of that, it's a perfect medication. Second one is called prazosin. I use that mostly in men, okay, because it also helps open up the prostate. So if you pick your medications right, they do more than one thing. Clonidine is also a pain medication, believe it or not. So if you've got somebody with blood pressure and pain issues, clonidine's a perfect medication. The pills are dirt cheap. The patches, they'll stick you.
Yeah, that's what I get. Well, because it's a convenience factor.
It's not convenient. You put a patch on once a week and they charge you $100 a month.
Or
you take the pills twice a day and it costs you $8 a month.
That's why
I'm a cheap sucker. I'm not going to be doing those
you're
patches.
paying for convenience with the patch.
Yeah, a lot. You pay a lot.
Let's see. So what supplements to take? Here's another one. Please tell me, and other people want to know, also my sister and my sister's friends.
Okay, good. The way I would do it would be to look at it not just as blood pressure being your issue. You look at what's causing the blood pressure to go up. Why are you feeling bad? If you're not feeling bad, why is your body telling you that it should feel bad? So it's either going to be an issue or a combination of issues of diet, which is almost always a problem. In our country, in fact, nobody that comes through my office comes through with what I would call a clean diet or a healthy diet.
Mine's pretty good.
It's amazing. Yours is not bad. But it's shocking the number of folks that'll come through and they'll eat a handful of nuts a day and think that they're doing their body a favor. Okay? Or they'll eat 3 or 4 pieces of cheese and think they're doing their body a favor.
That's healthy.
Or they suck down all kinds of things that don't make any sense at all. Or they may be unfamiliar with the fact that potatoes are a carbohydrate.
Oh, my God.
It's shocking. The level of lack of awareness.
Every time that I go somewhere, especially in my little breakfast nook, they're like, potatoes? You want some of this? Potatoes or grits? And I'm like, no, I don't want any of that.
No.
I want eggs and I want protein.
And you want fruit.
Yeah,
okay?
fruit,
So
that's it.
a piece of fruit, very hard to get into trouble. Even eggs are marvelous. Okay, so I may be the only doctor out there that'll tell you that it's okay to eat 2 or 3 eggs a day.
They're good for you.
They're good for you. Yes, it's got some fat in there, but nothing like the trans fats that you're getting in much of the garbage that you're eating. It's the trans fats that'll do you. So to lower the blood pressure, first thing you want to do is start yourself on a good protocol, good program of fish oil. Doesn't have to be expensive krill oil. Doesn't have to be expensive anything. But fish oil or olive oil. A shot glass of olive oil a day is every bit as good as the fish oil.
Go for extra virgin.
Style. Yeah, because it tastes better. And so then you go ahead and you work the trick with the chelated minerals, because thyroid disease will cause your blood pressure to go up. If you're hypothyroid, blood sugar will go up and blood pressure will go up. So you can deal with both of those by taking certain minerals, most notably selenium. Dosage is 180 micrograms a day, somewhere between 150 and 200, but 180 is a good compromise. Vanadium, vanadyl sulfate, chromium polynicotinate, and zinc. Those four, the four horsemen of the mineral world, are the ones that will get thyroid and diabetes under control. Now, there's some people that are going to need more vanadium and more chromium. It has to do with dietary or gastrointestinal, let's just say, integrity. If you have bad absorption, you just need to pour more down the hatch. So to answer the question that Gal had a few minutes ago, can you take too many vitamins? The answer is yes, you can. The problem, is that you don't know what your body's absorbing.
Right.
And the absorption will change from year to year, month to month, day to day, sometimes hour to hour. Whatever else is in your gut is going to influence how things get absorbed and your consistency with what you take. So I take a lot of vitamins. You'll call them vitamins. We call them nutraceuticals on a daily basis. But each one, has a particular purpose. So I take high-dose folic acid, which lowers my cholesterol. I'm 67. My cholesterol is in the 180s. I do not take a statin, and I will not take a statin. I take N-acetylcysteine in the morning, and I take it in the evening. Why? Because it lowers cholesterol. It lowers blood sugar. It also does a couple good things for your lungs. It helps you clear out sinus issues, and it's helpful for allergies. So you get more than one bang for your buck. You're actually being a little bit more intelligent than the average bear. What else do you want to be taking? B-complex are marvelous. They're cheap, they're easy, and you can't overdo it. Vitamin E, you can overdo. Anything more than 800 micrograms or IUs of vitamin E can become dangerous. It's associated with hip fractures and a bunch of other issues. 400 units is what you typically get in your diet anyway, so I don't generally augment people's diets with it. I don't find it helps very much. Vitamin D, it's a hormone, it's not a vitamin. So, can you take too much vitamin D? I would have to ask you to show me one person who has ever become toxic with vitamin D. And the answer is no, zero. You can't. But it does reduce your risk of cancer. It lowers blood sugar. It lowers your risk of all manners of problems. So, there are a bunch of things that you can do, and they all do more than one thing. Now, it gets back to a little bit discussion that we had several months ago called the parts list. We did a whole show on the parts list. Now, if you've ever been to IKEA, you'll get this. If you've ever put together a kid's bicycle for Christmas, you'll get this. Unless you go to like the Ace Hardware and they'll build it for you. That's just being lazy.
Cheating.
That's lazy. But all of these things come with parts list, and it'll tell you that there are 18 of this type of bolt, and there's 16 of those washers, and there's only 2 of these, so you better be careful. And the body has a parts list also. These vitamins and minerals are parts to these chemical equations. Enzymatic reactions is what we call them in the industry. So chemical A turns into chemical B with an enzyme. It's a catalyst that allows things to happen at essentially body temperature rather than at high temperature or very, very low temperature. It's that sophisticated piece of chemistry. But what turns a protein from a lengthy string of yarn into a sheet or a garment are these vitamins and minerals that staple it together or knit it into a sheet or into some recognizable glob. So, but they work for different proteins. They work for different enzymes. So if you have 15,000 genes, each coding for a different protein, you're going to have at least that many enzymes that are involved in construction of the rest of your body. Now, how many different minerals are there out there that are important to human physiology? And the answer is about 20. So they have to be redundant at some level. Iron is useful for a half a dozen. B12 as a vitamin is useful in 3. But zinc, 150. Magnesium, over 400. 400 different enzymatic reactions. One mineral.
So we got a show suggestion for next week. A day in the life of Dr. Klein. We'd love to hear what the doc eats every day.
Oh, there we go.
He's told us a lot of what not to eat.
There, I'll accept that challenge. Okay? Day in the life of Dr. Dave.
All right, we can do that. We'll do that next week. Thanks again for all your questions and for listening.
It's fun.
We'll do it again next week. Thanks, Dr. Dave.
This is my pleasure.
See you later.
You've been listening to Stages of Life Radio with Dr. David Klein. Check out stagesoflifemedicalinstitute.com or stop by 1917 Booth Circle in Longwood near the intersection of I-4 and 434. Call 407-679-3337. That's 407-679-3337. Dr. Klein accepts most insurance and Medicare too. Join us next Sunday at 4 p.m. on News Radio WFLA Orlando.